The political practice of shaping voting districts to favor the party in power is almost as old as America itself. Now it is under scrutiny by America's highest court. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream was there for oral arguments this morning in the first major case to come before the Supreme Court since its membership was restored to 9 justices.
I say it is time to say hasta la vista to gerrymandering.
Former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is among those urging the Supreme Court to toss Wisconsin's electoral maps, drawn when Republican lawmakers were in charge. Opponents argue social science and high-tech data have made the process so precise that once a party redraws districts, the minority may stay that way for good. But is extreme political gerrymandering unconstitutional? Justice Ginsburg questioned whether the heavily partisan districts would dissuade voters from even heading to the polls. Quote, whether it's a Democratic district or a Republican district, the result, using this map, the result is preordained in most of the districts, adding, what becomes of the precious right to vote? But when opponents of the redistricting by lawmakers who exploit the process called it a threat to democracy and a task left better to judges, Chief Justice Roberts responded, quote, the whole point is you're taking these issues away from democracy and you're throwing them into the courts pursuant to, and it may simply be my educational background, but I can only describe as sociological gobbledygook. It's just one of several potentially landmark cases on the court's new docket.
There's only one prediction that's entirely safe about the upcoming term, and that is it will be momentous.
Also on tap, forced union dues for public employees, sports betting, and the intersection of religious freedom and anti-discrimination laws, and the case of a Colorado baker who turned down a job for a same-sex ceremony.
I serve everybody that comes in, gay, straight, Catholic, Muslim, atheist. I welcome everybody into my shop. I just don't create cakes for every event that's presented to me.
And of course, the headliner, the president's so-called travel ban.
In many ways, it's a political judgment, and historically, the court has been very reluctant to tread into areas where it could be viewed as making a political judgment that's properly confined to the executive.
Well, the travel ban case was set to be argued next week, but after the administration issued yet another revised version, the court pulled it off the calendar and asked both sides to explain whether the issue, which could define the boundaries of presidential power, is now moot. James?
Well, so this is a critical challenge to the president's use of executive authority. What happens next?
So by Thursday, both sides have to file briefs at noon explaining why this case should proceed and the court should hear it. And the fact is, the administration is probably going to argue very hard on that point because they've lost the lower court rulings. They want the Supreme Court to step in and rule. It could be back on the calendar next week. We'll stand by.
Shannon Bream, who juggles a lot here at Fox News.
Happily so.
Thank you, my friend.